Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the conference of the opening show of the Fashion Design Council of India and Lakme Fashion Week's joint phygital edition. This moment right here, we're making history after more than a decade and a half as the powerhouses of fashion and beauty in India. Lakme Fashion Week, jointly organized by Lakme and Rise Worldwide, and the Fashion Design Council of India kickstart the 5-day phygital extravaganza with a spectacular opening showcase by Anamika Khanna. We have joining us this evening Mr. Sunil Sethi, Chairman FDCI, Mr. Ashwath Swaminathan, Head of Innovations Lakme, Mr. Jaspreet Chandok, Head Lifestyle Businesses, Rise Worldwide, and the woman of the hour, Anamika Khanna herself. Welcome everyone, and a big congratulations to all of you. I'd first like to speak with Mr. Sethi, Mr. Swaminathan, and Mr. Chandok. Congratulations for this iconic collaboration, for joining forces and bringing to the fore the best of fashion. When we made this announcement a fortnight ago, it definitely left all sections of the industry shocked, but most importantly, excited to see what we all have in store, right? So, Mr. Sethi, I think first question for you. Tell us what it's been like, putting this showcase together as one unit, and how did you agree on Anamika being the designer for the opening show?
So first question, I am so relieved. I am relieved, because I've got two fantastic partners taking over a lot of my responsibility. I thought FDCI was doing a fantastic job, but when I joined Lakme and Rise Worldwide, it's just another thing. So as you grow older, you start to realize that alliances are really important, and pandemic times has taught us nothing better than to join forces. So I think that's the first question answered, that this is what the industry wanted. And I'm so happy that my two partners who I see here, and this collaboration is exactly what everyone wanted. The designers wanted this, and we've given them this. Where it comes to Anamika, she's always been our favorite. She's been my favorite for a very long time. We've seen her shows have been something super special. Every time people get more than what they ask for. So it's never seen that, done that. It's always something new. And guess what? She's outdone herself once again. The fact, I always believe that there should be somebody who's talking about the fact that designers are artists themselves. So when Anamika comes on the platform and does a show where art meets design, art meets fashion, that's exactly how all the designers want to be perceived. So I'm extremely happy that a Mumbai-Delhi combination between Lakme, Rise Worldwide, and FDCI, guess what? They all decided unanimously on a Kolkata designer, Anamika. And that's because she is really the best.
Rightly said, so Mr. Sethi. Thank you. Mr. Swaminathan, wanting to know from you, Lakme Fashion Week is credited for being one of the leading and iconic fashion event platforms in the country. So what is your take on this collaboration?
Firstly, I'm very happy to be here alongside all of these people. I think popular belief, and maybe contrary to popular belief, that Delhi and Mumbai are these slated rivalries and competing events. I have to say none of that's really true. And after speaking to Mr. Sethi a couple of months ago, ever since when this partnership started brewing, the real thing about this partnership is that it puts industry first. And I think that's what brings all of us together. There's absolute, complete transparency, mutual respect, and interest in building the fashion industry together and rebuilding it together right now, given the year that it's had. So I think that's really what's made this collaboration what it is today. Needless to say, the contours of that collaboration will evolve with time. And I'm pretty positive the way it started off, that it'll only go in the right direction. And, like I said, because it's keeping industry at heart first, it will always do the best for the industry together. So yeah, really look forward to building off what we started today. Great show from Anamika. Loved it, and I hope this sets the tone for the rest of the week as well.
It certainly has. Um, Jaspreet, with the powerhouses of Indian fashion and beauty coming together, tell us, what should the world of fashion expect?
I think this is the starting of an era of collaboration, as Mr. Sethi and I have been saying many times in the media over the last 2 weeks. Irrespective of what the future holds, I think what it does definitely hold is all of us working together towards the building of this industry. Our intent, has come through in this event, but I think a lot of our actions will show itself over a period of time as we keep collaborating on various actions, right? Over a period of time. And I think what is most important is that, right now, in the way things are in the world, it is us coming together and pooling in our joint resources to put something together. That in itself is a beast, right? With FDCI having their teams and their infrastructures in place, and Lakme Fashion Week having their infrastructures in place, for it to all come together and work seamlessly is, I think, a true win this season. And I think that really starts off with Anamika's show, as being something that was jointly activated, shot by the FDCI team. Anamika's creativity was given the opportunity through the setup that was done at the FDCI office. We are both jointly promoting it and building on it. I think that's where, once you start leveraging on each other's synergies, you realize that there is so much more that can be done. And I think that's what the whole thing stands for, and what Anamika show also spoke about. I think that's really the true future of Indian fashion, in a manner of speaking. So we look forward to it as it evolves.
Thank you, Mr. Chandok. And I think congratulations again to everybody, and thank you, gentlemen. For everyone who tuned in to Anamika's presentation, her showcase, Timeless, the World, saw how it was inspired by the many quick changing feelings and emotions that one goes through. It kept nostalgia as well as tradition in mind while paying homage to Indian heritage. Anamika, congratulations on being the opening designer for the first showcase of FDCI and LFW's joint phygital edition. So let's jump right into it, right? Tell us, what has the journey been like ever since you decided to take this show on?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mara. Before I start explaining to you my emotions and my journey that I have been through, I want to say something, Mr. Sethi, today, that when you say Kolkata designer, the first thing that comes to my mind is that we're all Indian designers, and it doesn't even matter eventually. I could be in Delhi and be an Indian designer, or Bombay or whatever. So I think, for me, that becomes a really interesting something to think about, that when we go out of the country, we're all Indian designers. Having said that, I think for the lockdown period, all of us, not just here but everywhere in the whole world, we've all gone through a lot of emotions. Initially we started seeing this sense of there was this anxiety because people were really giving into COVID. You heard of a lot of people getting affected. You also heard of people losing their lives, not being able to breathe, all sorts of things. And it was sort of disturbing because you sort of went through that whole thing, that how can you take anything for granted anymore? It's here today and it goes tomorrow. And as time progressed, we all, started hoping for better tomorrow. And we all started together working on solidifying ourselves, finding moments that gave us more strength and permanence. And that's what my whole journey, even as I projected it in the show, was that you start with this feeling that nothing is permanent, and eventually you fight everything and you still go on. And that's how life is, that's how human beings are, that we still go on. And that's what my last message was, that in spite of the fact that we'll go to dust one day, in spite of the fact that rain will wash away the colors, someday we will start again. We're not going to leave the slate blank. So that's how, when I was asked to do this show, I was going through these questions in my mind. And I thought, what better time but to use this platform as an opportunity to share with everybody what I was feeling. There was this other thing that, everyone started speaking about vocal for local. And, I also felt that the collaboration between art and design, and also to be able to share my platform with these artists who sometimes are much more talented than I am, and somehow don't get that platform that I have been fortunate enough to get. With both our stalwarts sitting here, I have to say a big thank you for letting me do this, for having that faith in me. And of course, as I said, I was really nervous, and I'm still really nervous. But it's been a big opportunity. I mean, when I was approached to do this, I didn't even think twice. I didn't even think there's not enough time. I'm sitting here. How am I going to do this? I've never shot a film. I just said yes, because it is such a big opportunity. So through this platform, I was also able to share that platform with these artists who are incredible, and in some way bring them to collaborate with us in design. Because now I feel that after this whole journey, design is not just about making clothes anymore. It's here, it's in my heart, it's just about a way of life now. It could be anything. Yeah. So I hope I've been able to explain a little bit this why I started thinking about the show in this certain way.
Thank you, Anamika. I don't think you could have done it better. Thank you for so much. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to open the floor to questions for all the attendees who've joined in, and we'll take it from there. So I request everyone who's joined in, I don't even need to. There are questions that have come in already. Starting off, I think, starting off with Anamika. I think first one for you. What, according to you, I mean, you spoke a little bit about, what the influence of the past year had on the collection. Tell us a little bit about the artists who, you worked with.
Actually, these three artists were literally working with Viraj, who started dabbling in art. He's one of my twins already. They were literally in my backyard at home almost every day. And I kept watching what these boys were all doing. And it struck me that, they're just so talented. Why not use them and make them as part of my show? And they were so excited at the thought of it themselves. When I approached them with this idea, they just packed their bags and they said, Didi, chalo. Didi, not Didi, but they call me Didi. And they said, let's go. They were just so excited by the idea of themselves finding another canvas to paint, which they've never done before. Just like I would be excited at the idea of, let's say, designing some upholstery, because it gives me the opportunity of doing something else. And that's what these guys felt, that, it gives their art a different dimension. So it was very exciting. They're still asking me, what more are we going to do? And I'm just waiting, for this thing to get over. And I'm definitely going to collaborate with them a little bit more and do collections.
Sure. Thank you, Anamika. The next one is for Mr. Chandok and Mr. Sethi. Through this collaboration, was there something new that each of you learned?
Well, Jasprit, should I go first?
Yeah, of course. Is there any other way to go?
When you're doing shows yourself for the last 20 years, and I may have done about 1,000 shows already, I thought there's not too much, we could learn from our teams. And I always took pride in my young, small team, because they've always been excellent in managing everything. And this time working with the LFW team, I did realize that in many things they were, the professionalism was a lot more. And at the same time, I saw how my team was honestly much better in certain things. So the best thing is both of us didn't concede to each other, but we collaborated and joined forces. to me, that was the biggest revelation that I've said it before, ek aur ek 11 hote hain. And I feel that's what was proven by this collaboration.
From my end, what was truly great was that nothing new came to light, because I've worked with Mr. Sethi in the past when we used to be with Lifestyle India Fashion Week. It's some of the team is still the same, whether it's Neha or Nikhil. It gives a sense of comfort, to come back to some of the people that I've actually grown up with, in a manner of speaking. You wouldn't believe this, but Mr. Sethi and I don't come from the same age group. So
I'm younger.
Yeah, okay. But some of the other new teammates that from FDCI that we did get to meet, I think someone who really stood through was Nitin from his team. So that's new for me. I think he's a great resource. He's done well, working with our teams as well. So Nitin was new, Neha and Nikhil were old and trusted. So so that's from my end.
Thank you, Jaspreet. The next one, Anamika, we have for you. There is Rajesh here saying, lovely thought in putting this show together. They have one question. They want to know how hard or easy was it putting together this lovely, pleasing collection in COVID times?
Thank you so much, Rajesh. It's hard to answer this in one sentence, because for all of us, why just for me? Going back to work and navigating through a lot of issues about COVID, about everyone not being in place, the entire team not being in place. A lot of our embroiderers, our karigars, our craftsmen are also not there. They've gone back to their homes. That's one part of it. The second was to, whenever we come from out of the city and do a show, obviously it's a little more tougher, because you're picking up your collection, you're picking up your people, and you're traveling to another place. You don't have your team, you don't have your setup. So obviously it's tougher. But having said that, when I reached the FDCI office, I was obviously apprehensive that, I'm going there and I don't know how it's going to be. What are we going to do? When I entered that place, I was like, oh my God, this place is a dream. There is this curved LED immersive screen. And then there are these people who are just willing to do, they're just willing to make it happen. Basically, they had decided we're going to make it happen. So once I reached there, it was like a cakewalk. We had made a plan and suddenly there was this new idea and there was something else, but it was just happening like that. Of course, when you're putting a show together, there's a lot of turmoil. You make changes, you think about it, but the whole team, when it comes together and works towards the same goal, it's really not just a learning journey. It's like an experience that you can't have. I have to thank Ms. Sethi and Jaspreet both on this one. The FDCI, the whole setup was incredible. It was just incredible.
Having said that, Anamika, one last question then. We've been asked whether, considering this experience has been so wonderful, would you say that you still miss physical showcases, like being on the runway and the magic of the runway?
Absolutely. One really can't take away what human touch does to art and design. One can't take that away. And, that whole glamour and the whole drama of it, and the very fact that, of course, even here, you had the liberty to just go and do anything you wanted. You could just, I could literally make people collapse into dust. And that was one kind of magic. But then this other magic is magical too. Of course, I miss it. I can't wait to be with everyone and just go back to normal times, do a show. It's a different feeling. I mean, I'm missing the backstage feeling. I'm missing the panic. I'm missing that whole screaming and shouting of the models being called to walk on the ramp. All of those things you can't substitute.
Because it was so well organized.
Yeah, it was so well organized. I didn't have to do, there was no stress at all.
Also, we were nervous because for Lakme Fashion Week and FDCI, this was our opening show. We actually gave the same service to everybody, but this was our special day, when we opened such a historic kind of an opening with all of us joining together. And Anamika, I'd like you to tell them about the rain that happened and how the colors got soaked in the rain, because that's not an experience you can see on digital cameras.
Yeah, so, I had this whole vision in my head that, we will go into dust and whatever the artist has created will also wash away. And I kept chewing these guys' brains. I was like, I want the rain to happen and I want the colors to flow out. Now, in this setup, which is like a time frame and also a setup like that, how are you going to do that? But they came up with this idea of literally putting the models in a, should I reveal it, how we did it?
Why not? I mean, it's a production and it's a work of art.
The production has been a work of art, and literally water was being poured on top of the model once when she was in white, and then another time the rain was happening, water was being poured when the color was going away from the clothes. It was just an incredible production to see. I just sat back and I watched because I didn't have anything to do. But all these guys who were putting it together, I mean, somebody was holding something, somebody's pouring water, somebody's getting wet themselves, and they didn't care. They just wanted it to happen. Even the girl who did it, she was just quietly, just aram se, just letting the water fall on her. There was no noise, no shouting, screaming, no, whatever. She's just standing there and just so professional, I can't tell you. But that experience, it was crazy. I don't think, I can't do that on a live wrap for sure.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think it really made it very live and is an image for all of us to have as well. Thank you, Anamika, and I'd like to thank all of you who've joined in. Mr. Chandok, Mr. Sethi, Mr. Swaminathan, thank you for giving us this iconic and historic moment to cherish, that we will all cherish for a very, very long time. And this, ladies and gentlemen, really marks the beginning of the 5 days of fashion by FDCI and Lakme Fashion Week. And we can't wait for you all to see everything that we have in store here on. We'll see you again. Until then, thank you and good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.